A lot of people decide they finally want to get serious about money. They feel motivated, maybe after getting a paycheck, seeing their bank balance, or realizing they are spending too much without noticing. So they make a budget. They open an app, write down some numbers, set limits, and tell themselves this time they are going to do it right. But then reality shows up. A few days later, they spend a little more than planned. A bill comes in higher than expected. A small purchase throws off one category. They start feeling behind, frustrated, and discouraged. Soon the budget is forgotten, and the cycle starts again. That is why so many people fail at budgeting. It usually is not because budgeting is useless. It is because the way they approach it does not match real life. In this video, we are going to break down why people fail at budgeting, what the most common mistakes are, and how to build a budget that actually works long term. Let's get into it. 1. They make it too complicated. One of the biggest reasons people fail at budgeting is that they try to create a system that is too detailed from the start. They want to track every dollar, create a category for everything, and build a perfect system right away. At first, that may feel smart. It feels organized and responsible, but the more complicated the system becomes, the harder it is to maintain. If budgeting feels like a second job, people eventually stop doing it. Most people do not need a perfect financial system. They need a simple one they can repeat. A budget with too many categories, too many rules, and too much pressure usually becomes exhausting very quickly. A better budget is one that is easy to understand, easy to update, and easy to stick to even when life is busy. Simplicity is not laziness. Simplicity is what makes consistency possible. 2. They expect perfection. A lot of people think a budget only works if they follow it perfectly. They believe one overspend means failure. One bad week means the whole month is ruined. One mistake makes the system useless. That way of thinking destroys momentum. Budgeting is not about never making a mistake. It is about becoming more aware of your spending over time. The goal is progress, not perfection. If you go a little over in one category, that does not mean you failed. It means you learned something. Maybe the category was too low. Maybe the plan was unrealistic. Maybe you spent emotionally. That information is valuable. The problem is not the mistake itself. The problem is quitting after the mistake. People who succeed with budgeting are usually not perfect. They're just willing to adjust and keep going. 3. They build the budget around fantasy, not reality. Another common reason people fail is that they create budgets based on what they wish their life looked like instead of what their life actually looks like. They think they will spend less on food than they really do. They forget transportation costs. They ignore random purchases. They leave out entertainment, gifts, or small expenses that always happen. Then the budget falls apart because it was built on unrealistic assumptions. A budget should reflect your real life, not your ideal life. That means you need to look at your actual spending history, check your bank statements, app activity, and recurring expenses. Find out what you truly spend, not what you hope you spend. Once you know the real numbers, you can create a plan that actually has a chance to work. A realistic budget may not look as exciting on paper, but it is far more useful in the real world. 4. They do not leave room for real life. Even a good budget can fail if it is too tight. Real life is full of surprises. A friend invites you somewhere. A bill comes in higher than expected. You need something for your car. A small emergency happens. You feel tired and want convenience. Life is not neat and predictable. If your budget has no flexibility, it will break the moment something unexpected happens. That is why a good budget needs breathing room. It should include space for small mistakes, occasional fun, and unexpected expenses. This does not mean being careless. It means recognizing that real life is never perfectly controlled. People often fail at budgeting because they create a system that looks good in theory but collapses the first time normal life gets in the way. A budget should support your life, not fight against it. 5. They focus only on cutting spending. Many beginners think budgeting means cutting as much as possible. They remove everything fun, stop enjoying small comforts, and try to live as cheaply as they can. At first, it feels productive, but over time, it becomes painful. That approach usually backfires. When a budget is built only on restriction, it starts to feel like punishment. People begin to resent it. They feel deprived, and eventually they rebel against it by overspending. What started as discipline turns into frustration. A better budget is not just about cutting. It is about deciding what deserves your money. It helps you spend with purpose. It shows you where to save and where it is okay to enjoy life a little. A healthy budget protects your future without making your present miserable. 6. They do not track what actually happens. A budget is not a one-time document. It is a living tool. If people never check how they are doing, they have no idea whether the budget is actually helping them or not. Many people make a budget and then never look at it again. They assume they are following it, but by the end of the month, they are surprised by how much money they spent. That is because the budget existed on paper, but not in real behavior. If you want a budget to work, you have to review it regularly. That might mean checking it once a week or once a month. Look at what you spent, where you stayed on track, and where you drifted off course. This is not about shame, it is about awareness. Without tracking, you are guessing. With tracking, you can improve. 7. They do not know why they are budgeting. A lot of people create budgets because they feel like they should, but they do not have a clear reason behind it. They know they need to manage money better, but they have no real goal attached to the process. That makes budgeting feel empty. When there is no purpose, it is easy to quit, but when budgeting is connected to something meaningful, it becomes much easier to stay consistent. Maybe you are trying to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you want to build an emergency fund. Maybe you want to pay off debt. Maybe you want peace of mind. Maybe you want to stop feeling anxious every time you check your account. A goal gives your budget meaning. It turns restriction into progress. Without a reason, a budget feels like a list of limits. With a reason, it feels like a path forward. 8. They rely too much on motivation. Many people start budgeting when they are inspired. They watch a money video, get excited, and decide they are finally going to get their life together. But motivation fades, stress returns, busy days happen, old habits come back. If the budget depends on motivation, it will eventually fail. That is why systems matter so much. You need habits that work even when you do not feel like trying. Automatic transfers, simple categories, regular check-ins, and clear limits all make budgeting easier to repeat. A strong system protects you on bad days. Motivation might get you started. Systems are what help you continue. 9. They ignore emotional spending. Budgeting is not only about math, it is also about behavior. A lot of overspending happens because people are emotional. They shop when they are stressed, bored, lonely, frustrated, or tired. The purchase feels like relief in the moment, but it usually hurts the budget later. If you ignore emotional spending, your budget will keep breaking in the same places. You need to notice your triggers. When do you spend without thinking? What feelings usually come before it? What situations make you more likely to go off plan? When you understand those patterns, you can create better boundaries. You can pause before buying. You can wait before making decisions. You can find other ways to deal with the emotion instead of turning to spending automatically. A good budget is not just a spending plan, it is also a protection against emotional habits. 10. They try to change everything at once. Another reason people fail is that they want to fix every money problem immediately. They want to save more, spend less, stop impulse buying, cut subscriptions, budget perfectly, and build better habits all at the same time. That is a lot. Too much change at once usually creates overwhelm, and overwhelm leads to quitting. A better strategy is to focus on one thing first. Maybe you start by tracking your spending. Maybe you focus on food expenses. Maybe you work on saving automatically. Maybe you cut one unnecessary subscription. One small improvement is enough to begin building momentum. Money habits change faster when the process feels manageable. You do not need to fix your entire financial life in 1 week. You just need to keep moving in the right direction. 11. They confuse a bad month with failure. This is one of the most discouraging mistakes people make. They have one rough month, and they decide budgeting does not work. They overspend once, miss a goal, or have an unexpected expense, and suddenly they feel like the whole plan is pointless. But one hard month does not mean the budget failed. It may simply mean life happened. A budget is not supposed to prevent every problem. It is supposed to help you handle them better. If one bad month makes you quit, you never give yourself enough time to improve. The people who build strong money habits are usually the ones who keep going after setbacks. They do not treat every mistake as proof that they cannot do it. They treat it as part of the learning process. 12. They do not build a budget they can actually live with. At the end of the day, this may be the biggest reason budgeting fails. The budget is not realistic enough for the person using it. It is too strict, too complicated, too painful, or too disconnected from real habits. And if a budget does not fit your actual life, you will not keep using it. A good budget should help you, not trap you. It should give you direction, not shame. It should support your goals while still allowing you to live a normal life. That is why the best budget is not the most impressive one. It is the one you can repeat month after month. People fail at budgeting for many reasons, but most of them come down to the same few problems. The budget is too complicated, too strict, too unrealistic, or too disconnected from real behavior. Budgeting is not supposed to feel like punishment. It is supposed to give you awareness, control, and a clearer path for your money. When you keep it simple, stay flexible, and focus on consistency instead of perfection, budgeting becomes much easier to maintain. You do not need a perfect system. You need a realistic one. If budgeting has not worked for you before, that does not mean you are bad with money. It may just mean you need a better system. Start smaller, make it simpler, leave room for real life, and keep improving as you go. That is how budgeting starts working for real.